Welcome to the FrequentSEE Network. Frequent, capital S, capital E, capital E. Self-empowering experts giving you a self-empowering experience, sharing authentic connections about sound, light, energy, frequency, vibration, and most of all, love. There is nothing more authentic than being the love that you are. We are 4 generations of women empowering you to love your life even more. Here we flow.
Well, welcome everybody. And we have our 4 generations of women here that what we move into is talking about the frequency forecast, the frequencies that are coming into the planet that are having effects, in our lives. And we're going to learn a little bit more about that. I want to introduce our team here, our self-empowering experts. We have Mia Kelly, which is our youngest here, and then Kristen. I'm going to go in the next, and then myself, Cynthia O'Neill, Kristen Wall, Cynthia O'Neill, and then we have with us Joci James, and Joci James on June 4th is turning 99. She's going into her 100th year, and here she is with us. So we'll talk to her in a little bit because she has something really special about this time of turning 99. So, but let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to have Kristen just review a little bit, if you haven't been here with us before, kind of what the frequency forecast is about, and why we should be interested in knowing what frequencies are affecting our world and affecting our physical being and maybe even our emotions and things like that. So Kristen, can you share a little bit about that so we can kind of give a little insight again on that, just a review, and then we're going to move into that forecast itself. So what do you think, Kristen?
Yes, I love it. I love sharing about the frequency forecast and how it's came to pass, I guess. We've got our NASA, who has studied the environment and has measured the frequencies that come online for each day. And so we're taking those frequencies and basically understanding what that frequency is across the levels of our bioelectrical system, nutritional, muscles. I really like to hone in on our muscle system because that's just where we feel it the most, or the easiest, I should say. And I may have already said emotions. So those 2 are what I like to focus on here. And so we've got June here coming online, and the earth note, or the birth note, is the note of D. So everyone born in June, well, generally between May 22nd and June 21st, is considered the birth note of D, or they have this energy imprinted upon them and it's layered within their system. And then their environmental factors, their inherited aspects, all play a part in that as well. But I like to look at just the basic frequencies that we're imprinted with and what that might mean for somebody on that layer. So here in June, we've got certain muscles that are activated, the back of the neck. We've got our toes being activated. We've got our platysma activated, which is a lot of like what May's note deals with, a lot of connection, if we're using conscious language. So connection is still coming online. Those with the birth note of D, or who are born in June, may feel this desire to have a self-connection, or connection with their world, their creator, just searching for this sense of connection. And they may also be a very healthy connection in that, where they feel strong in that connection. So based on if that note is weak or strong, that's what's coming into play for June here. And if you are born in June, then it's going to be also activated just like Josie. So you're going to have it extra. So it'll be more in stress, which means to me that if there are certain connections that are out of alignment, you will feel that a little bit more because it's extra. And what our highest self is asking for is to, let's wrap that up. Let's get that taken care of. Let's figure out how to put that into balance in the pocket there of, I like to use ease. Let's make this fun and easy and address it. So, yeah, those are the main things that are coming online. Progesterone as a hormone is really coming online. So, fertility aspect is going up, and it may balance out those who are experiencing, other hormonal issues with a low progesterone, because progesterone is active this month. You may feel better hormonally. And let's see, emotionally, I have a daughter who is also born in June. So I'm just kind of looking over this and seeing what those imprinted frequencies are emotionally on the more side of might be kind of negative, is there might be self-approval issues that the node of D kind of has to figure out for themselves in this life. Let's see. And then on the physical level, things like liver, gallbladder, pancreas has to do with digestion and appetite, which I notice with my daughter, her digestion. If she feels out of balance emotionally, it really affects her digestion and her stomach. So I've noticed that throughout her life, extremely, not just, oh, I have indigestion. It was like she went into gluten intolerance type stuff and tick behavior, just neurologically, it was just so much an overload on her system. So um, let's see, I'm looking at my notes here. So the strength returning, especially for June, would all be about um, taking in that which blesses you, especially if we're focusing on, our stomach area. I take in that which blesses me, seeing the blessings in our life, and feeling connected to our blessings. So it just depends on the system that we're running, right? The system that we are imprinted and born into. Maybe it's unconscious, but it is a system that is producing an outcome. So when we understand what is happening, we can then shift it and call forth our strength returning. So begin to notice it's all about awareness. Notice what is what is taking the most um, brain time for me. What do you think about the most? Like what is on your mind? Brain memory, that's the word I was looking for. Like what's taking up the most RAM that you're thinking about constantly, and um kind of tracing that back, bring awareness to it, and see where it's stemming from and how to claim the strength returning. So yeah, neck, I feel connected. I am connected. Toes are all about feeling understood, our direction in life, standing under ourselves. So that's the self-approval, which, especially if there's June born babies, they're going to be activating that on top of it. So all of these things are coming into play, and it's why I enjoy knowing and understanding about it, Cynthia, was what you said. Well, how can we, why do we care? What's this used for? Is we can prepare, and we can be aware of what might be coming online and why we might be feeling things, instead of taken by surprise and things coming out of left field of, thought I dealt with this. I felt this way before and I did the work. But it's just really kind of, these frequencies are coming online, being activated to see where we are at. If we've really shifted or claimed our strength returning, all those things. So it's just shows us where we're at.
Yes, and perfectly shared. Um, Also, Joci, since she is a June baby, we're going to have her come in last, after I'm going to speak and Mia, and then Joci, we're going to bring you on because earlier before we got on here, there was a lot of things that Joci was sharing with us about what she was going through, as well as she has written something about being 99. And we'd like to just bring her in and really celebrate her after we share a little bit about ourselves going along with that frequency. And I'm just going to share real quick that, gosh, there were so many things there that came up. And, uh, that connection, my neck, oh my gosh, especially right side and the platysma and everything, has been coming on strong. Um, but one of the big things that you were talking about is preparing ourselves before we come into the hardship, so to speak, being aware. I've always said, if you knew the cause, would you need a cure? Right? So if you knew there was frequencies that were a little more active in this time, and so if you knew the cause that there was some imbalance that was going on, could you balance a little more easily, bring yourself back into homeostasis, so to speak. And then also, listening to the frequencies, these are nature's essence, God's essence, whatever it is for you, creator's essence, speaking to us through the experience that we have with life, right? This is the communication, the connection with the divine that we're constantly in communication with. Our body's always speaking what we're feeling. And I always say we feel first before we think. And I may have shared this in the past too, that always the heart, since the electromagnetic field, is always going out to everything and everywhere. And we're communicating within that field. And so we can feel way before it comes in to our physical senses. So we can prepare. We don't have to get surprised and lose the blood to our brain to make really wise decisions, right? So, I was a wilderness outfitter, and I remember taking some people up on a trail. And when I got to where it's supposed to split and go around, this was right at the beginning of the archery season. And it was a beautiful fall day. We were up there to see the leaves and everything. And something kept telling me not to take the path I normally take. I felt something way before. I was paying attention. I was listening to nature. I was listening, to my heart. And we took a different direction. Later, we came down the regular way, and there was a couple of hunters there. And they go, "Oh my gosh, where did you come from?" Right? And I said, "Well, we went up a different way." They said, "Thank God we had put, harvested up in a tree, and there was a cougar, mountain lion that was, pulling it down right off the trail." Now, if I didn't listen to that, my people were not, regular horseback riders, right? And the horses, it doesn't matter if you were a good rider or not. You come upon that there's not much you could do. So this is about being aware and really feel what you feel what you're experiencing, not just in your physical world, but the divine part of you that's always in communication with life and the living, So that's where I'm going to go with what I have to say to that. And, the next step feeling connection. Sometimes recently I felt a little disconnected from things. So that makes sense to me about, and also disconnected from my own body, so to speak, because I'm, when you go through those changes. And you talk about progesterone. I'm going to bring in one more thing here before I turn it over to Mia. Progesterone, is that feminine hormone, but also is needed to make testosterone. So it's not only just for a female, it's for the masculine energy too within us. And marijuana, CBD, those, hemp is the same frequency equivalent as progesterone, feminine energy, a feminine hormone. So, I feel there's just a lot of feminine energy coming back into the planet, when we're getting more introduced to things that have always, really benefited us, in certain ways, because you can do so much with hemp. You can build with it, you can make, building blocks and make containers, and gosh, so much that it was there to take care of us too, and things like that. So, I think the feminine energy is really coming strong back on, into the planet. So that's a huge component too I want to address with that C note, So, and that's what I see coming. All right. So, Mia, how you feeling about what Kristen shared with us?
I always think the frequency maths. And it was D note, right? D note. And I think that's so interesting because that's our sacral chakra, which is all about our creating world, all about, feeling connected to ourselves, everything that you were saying, feeling connected to ourselves, our creative, that's like where our womb is and everything that we're creating. Mine were all coming online. I love when this happens. My shoulder's been hurting me so bad the last 2 days, and I thought, like, my neck, I thought it was maybe from doing partner yoga, but maybe it's a little bit of both. And I recently had an experience last week, and I was telling Cynthia where I really knew in my heart I didn't want to do something, and I got peer pressured into going to an event that I didn't want to go to, and I had a really bad time at it. And Cynthia's just talking about how, like, we know energetically these things. So and you said, like, we might notice some patterns of, like, no longer being connected or some disconnects. So there was, like, some major disconnects that I got to see with my real eyes and remember, like, what I choose to be connected with. So this is all very fitting for me. That's what I write down. And I love all the conscious language upgrades right now. I feel like, me personally, I have been dealing with, like, some self-approval, or, like, some things are being highlighted in my life, especially under the full moon, of just, like, where maybe I'm not feeling connected to myself. It's always interesting when this comes through. I get to do some serious self-reflection here. But yeah, I'm excited to use these conscious language upgrades and take in that which blesses me and see all my blessings and feel connected and feel understood. So I think this is very fitting, and I'm excited to apply what I just learned.
Well, that is wonderfully said and shared. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is wonderful to have all these things coming online for us. And sharing that that creative birthing something new, it seems like. And standing under ourselves, right? Standing under ourselves and our self-worth and all those things. That's kind of why, my connection to myself and my self-worth. So you added on to that, Mia, along with what Kristen's saying. So before Joci, we get you on just real quick, Kristen, was there something that you wanted to pop in and add to anything that we just said?
Yeah, I love all the stories and how it's relating and connecting, because everything is so connected. And I was thinking even more directly about the frequencies and toes. It's our direction and where we're going, kind of pointing where we're going. So, like, feelings of unsure of where you're going might come up, and just claim, I am directed by my creator. I trust I am directed. And then digestion again could be, I digest my life with ease and grace. So there was just a few more conscious language upgrades that were coming as everyone was speaking, to be more specific, because specificity really ignites our feeling world. And so that's the main thing here is this idea. And I know I've shared this before on our podcast, is there's a lot of speaking about the word trauma, and do we really understand what that means? Do we all have the same, like, definition of what it means? I'm unsure. My definition is is it's just a violent shift in perspective. You thought that you were once safe and then felt this betrayal energy or something, or just had this violent shift in your perspective that it wasn't all roses and butterflies. There's something that shifted. And the opposite then is true because we live in this state of opposition. So the opposite of trauma is then miracles. And miracles then is a wondrous shift in perspective. And this wondrous shift in perspective is how we use languaging of, oh my gosh, I choose to digest my life with ease and grace. And we just have this wondrous shift of like, I have that choice. I can choose that and I can feel that and embody it. Like understanding, our direction. So everything here that we're talking about, self experts, is all about bringing awareness to the many miracles that are there waiting for us to say yes to. And so that was what I'll add before our birthday queen comes online.
Our queenager.
Yes.
She likes to call herself. She's a queenager.
Love it.
Joci, here you are. We are celebrating you today. We love you so much. And so share with us your perspective on what Kristen shared in this frequency forecast. And then we want to hear how you feel about turning 99. So Joci, are you still there since we put you on hold for a little bit?
I'm here. Um, First of all, I relate to so much that Kristen said about the month of June. Sorry about my voice; it always gets gravelly. Um, One of the things that was very was highlight for me when she was giving the June frequency is that I have very few things wrong with me at this age, but one of the things I've been particularly in concerned with is my feet and my toes, and I have one that's kind of lapped over from a bunion. But so this morning I had got some new toe separators and was able to get my sock on to keep it there. So to tell you that long story is I was connecting with the toes of the month of June.
I'm thinking, Joci, as far as moving forward, gosh, in your life. And I think that, you'll be talking about that when you share your story about turning 99. So I think it'll even answer some of those, put even more towards the frequencies that are going on with what you're going to share with us. And the other thing that touched me with you, Joci, about that moving forward. What do you feel like you're moving forward in? And again, I think it's time for you to go ahead and share that information that you wrote up about being 99, because that's going to answer all those questions that I have for you.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to preface it with a few things that are on the hard copy, which some of you may not have. I had 3 photos, one made in 1927 when I was in my first year, one made in 1933, and one made in 2026 to give you kind of a picture of the different ages that I've gone through in my almost 100 years. So it occurred to me that I could write something to myself and for others to share with others as well, celebrating how I feel about being 99. And I call it my milestones. Feeling fine at 99 is waking up and realizing that every wrinkle has a story, every lifeline earned its keep. Every candle on the cake is proof that I kept showing up for life. It's sipping coffee like it's a luxury, sharing wisdom whether people ask for it or not, and proudly saying, I've seen things you kids wouldn't believe. And I still remember where I hid the good cookies. Feeling fine at 99 means walking a little slower but loving a little deeper, being proud that I can still remember names and never forget kindness, knowing the secret to happiness is often good friends, good stories, and comfortable shoes. Becoming living proof that joy doesn't retire. Same goes for being healthy, wealthy, and loved beyond imagination. At 99, I believe in forever altering one's attitude to the sun. Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the heart. So here's to me a truly witty, may I be a role model for everyone I meet, to live in a land of awe, and that's something that I've coined as meaning aging with ease. I've outlived trends and survived technology updates and earned the right to nap. I call it happy hour, and I can do that without having to explain it. And the best part, I'm not getting old. I'm becoming a classic. And I signed it as Joci James, living in a land of awe, aging with ease.
Oh, I so love that. You're just becoming a classic. Yes, you are. You are. Oh my gosh. Um, I'm going to ask Kristen. So, what she shared with us in there, and I'll also ask Mia. There were some things that really touched on the frequencies of today. And can you pull a few of those out, Kristen? So, in what she was saying, I just heard her actually giving herself more self-worth, and she's taking that energy that sometimes takes us out when we're like questioning ourselves, and all of a sudden I saw her strength return when she was just owning the age that she's at, and who she is, and all the things I know that Joci's gone through these years, how they treated women and the different things that she's gone through and had to overcome, to be where she is today. So that's one of the frequencies that she strengthened and kept very strong in what she read about being 99. So, and what did you hear in there? And then Mia, then I might ask you.
Yes, and I love that. Joci is such a beautiful example of creating the reciprocal balance for what she's her earth note, right? Like it's all of this just caregiving um and examining to help others. That's all the reciprocal balance. So I I really love there was one part that stood out to me that I just it caught my attention, and then I was just thinking about how true it was that every candle on the that's added, I choose to know exactly how she said, and every candle on the cake shows that she showed up for another year. And it just is just like choosing yes and saying yes. And I like that is so valuable and profound there, that it's that self-approval right there of like I chose to show up, and this was the evidence of it. I now have 99 candles, and that is just so amazing. So I loved everything about Joci's newsletter, and how she continues to use her energy to bless not only herself but everyone around her, because we can't pour from an empty cup, right? So you know that Joci is filling herself as well with what she's doing.
Yes, yes, yes. And Mia, these are our gifts. These are our gifts to Joci.
No, I love it so much. I was trying to screenshot it and put it in here for you guys so that you can see it again. It was just so beautiful. I agree with what you said. You're kind of like using conscious language upgrades, Joci, in your thing. It's just so gorgeous. And then you asked about like, how she hit on maybe some of the keynotes right now, but even she said, like, I'm walking a little slower, but loving a little deeper, being proud I can still remember names and never forget kindness. So it's like you're counting your blessings, you're talking about standing under yourself. Like, I just love hearing you read it. I read it when I saw it on Instagram that day because you never sent me this actual thing. So I like read it on Instagram, but hearing you read it is just obviously it's completely different. I'm proud of you. Feeling very fine. You're looking fine at 99.
Yes, and we will, when you come to listen, when you're here, you'll be able to download this beautiful writing that Joci has put forward for her 99th birthday. So we'll have that uploaded. You can download it and have it and share it. And also, yeah, so if it strengthens you, I know Joci, this is a miracle for her. She's always blessing us with her miracles. And Joci, so come on in and let's just let you unload with everything that you're receiving right now.
Well, I have to give myself credit for being able to express my feelings in the way that I did, because there was a time when I certainly would have thought, oh my God, that's really too braggadocious. Why would you ever want to express all that? But now I feel connected to the fact that that message very well may mean someone changing their perspective on how what aging means to them. And that makes it all so uh, much more of a free thing that I can say, yes, I contributed that, and maybe just in my feelings about doing it, it will affect someone and make them look at life a little different. And I was interested that Kristen brought up living with ease, and mine, of course, is aging with ease. And also, I would just tell you that I have a large Sunday school group, maybe 80 people, and I sent it to one of them, the members, and she read it to the class, and they were just really pleased with it, and said I had raised the bar for the way they look at life and look at aging. So that's very, very rewarding.
You have so much purpose, Joci.
Thank you.
Yes, and you are that classic, that last part. How does Mia, you have it right there. What does it say?
I'm
Uh,
becoming a classic.
what is it, Chris Joci?
I'm becoming a classic. I'm not
Yes.
getting old. I'm becoming a classic.
Yes. Oh
You
my
know,
gosh. That is just that is a classic statement, So beautiful. Well, happy birthday. We
thank
are
you.
so blessed, speaking of our blessings, to have you here with us. And this is amazing, just amazing time, a wonderful time that the four of us, four generations of women who've come together to share this information. And that someone at 99, we're speaking about frequencies. She's on a podcast. And that's another part of what she says in there. I've made it through the technology updates. And she has this, Joci can do, she she is so technologically, it's so profound that what she can do, that she's continued to learn something new every time, constantly throughout her life. And I think that's why she's just so, right here right now, she's so with us and has bounced back since I've known her for 10 years now, or more. Is it 12 years? I can't even remember anymore. Uh, speaking of, but just to know in these 10 years what you've gone through to be here today in 10 years, and you're not in your 100th year. I can't imagine what those other years were like. So you are just, wow, the blessings and the miracle that you are, to be here and to be with us. And thank you. I am so grateful for you, Joci. I love you so much. And I'm so happy that Kristen and Mia could share in that, and that we're here with you to share all of this information and new things so that other people can grow and thrive and become classics like you. Like you said, you have taken us to a whole nother bar, raised the bar for us, and how we to live and to grow and to love and to be loved, right? So any last words for you, Joci, for this birthday classic that we're having here to share the June frequency forecast and finding out more about ourselves and really helping ourselves have more self-approval and love ourselves? What do you say, Joci?
Well, my other side of my personality, which Gemini is a twin, is to be a comedian. So I always have to find something funny in whatever happened. And I do tell jokes every day to my residents here, and they just love it. But one I thought of on this is saying I'm becoming a classic. Well, I'm picturing a classic car, but I haven't gone on the road yet.
I love it. Well, that's a good one to, finish off the frequency forecast for today. Anybody else have some last takeaways and to help Joci get on the road?
I just think it's so cool to see it all come together, and just all of our different experiences, and all of Josie's wisdom. Even at the end, she said there that, writing this stuff helps her feel connected, and that's what we're talking about today. So I'd love to see it.
Yes, connection. And here we are connecting with all of you. Anybody who's going to be able to be on to listen to this beautiful forecast and celebrating Joci's 99th birthday. And Kristen, any takeaways for you, my dear?
Yes, so many. I just love this podcast and the insights that are shared, and just that all of us are part of a whole, and we're all connected, and just feeling my gratitude.
Thank you. And then, so we do have authentic connections here. That's one of our foundations of this podcast. So, Joci, I love you. Happy birthday. And Mia, Kristen, oh, thank you all for being here. And I just want to just put out there again, breathe deep into your hearts and love yourself even more today than you did yesterday. Much love, and have a beautiful experience with life.